It's a Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. The Stay With the podcast brought to you by Converse County Tourism. Douglas and Glen Rock, Wyoming are bustling with action this holiday season. Plan your excursion, including fun activities, beautiful downtowns, and historic treasures. Learn more at conversecountytourism.com. Well, beautiful shot from North Park, Colorado, as you can see there from the snow that came in across many areas of the southern and central Rockies last week and into the start of the weekend. We're going to see another front come through today and tonight in the west. As we mentioned yesterday, it's an open wave. Open waves come through quickly. And we're seeing already rain and snow across portions of the interior west. And as this front races through later today and tonight, there's going to be a little bit of weather with it. Some impacts, but nothing major. We're going to see some high country snow. It's going to get windy on the plains, and later today and tonight and tomorrow, many areas will see a bit of a drop in temperature. But it's a Pacific front, not an Arctic one, so temperatures won't drop a lot. Then we await the next system coming off the Pacific, which will end up being a stretched out storm that's going to favor Montana, maybe parts of northern Idaho and southern Canada and North Dakota with a little bit of precipitation this weekend, just spotty showers elsewhere. But it will cool things off a little bit this weekend. But with the front and the storm system splitting and stretching, we're going to have a piece go to the north, and then we're going to have a leftover piece in the south again. And that's going to set the stage for what looks to be an extremely complicated weather pattern next week. It looks murky in terms of the details, and I'll show you why. But next week's weather is going to prove to be a very active weather pattern in parts of the west and central United States. But we could have big differences from location to location based on how things shake out. We'll show you that. But next week is definitely looking quite interesting. Beautiful moisture in many areas of the region over the last 7 to 10 days, mainly favoring the central and southern areas that had missed out on that late October storm. Nice to see moisture in the sandhills of Nebraska there. Here's today's open wave. The trough, if we were to show the jet stream winds, it looks like this. Here's the upper level low over eastern Idaho, moving into western Wyoming this morning. This system is going to skedaddle, move very quickly off to the east. You're going to see some fog in portions of Nebraska, the North Platte Valley of Wyoming this morning, and up here in western North Dakota, that's the blue that you're seeing there, low clouds or fog. Here's the radar as of really early this morning. So right underneath the cloud shield right here is where you've got the showers. So we're going to see some areas of snow and rain move into the western parts of Wyoming, already getting moisture there into the Wasatch Front. And this band of moisture is just going to head east throughout the course of the day today. As we can see at the 500 millibar level, this is by noon today. The upper level low, the trough is about Evanston, but moving along fairly quickly. Windy conditions between now and tomorrow likely. So these aren't winds that are crazy by our standards, but look at the strong winds here. Strong jet stream winds coming into the coast of Washington and Oregon. Just to show you, this is an early winter pattern that you're seeing here in the Pacific Northwest coast of some very windy conditions as strong Pacific jet stream winds get stronger and stronger. But as the wave goes through, it is going to be a little bit blustery. We had a beautiful Veterans Day in most areas, so today and tomorrow not nearly going to be as nice. This is what we can expect moisture-wise. Nothing to write home about, but there's going to be, in these solid green areas, accumulating snow in the mountains, a little bit of rain and snow shower activity on the plains, even a little patch here gets east of the Continental Divide tonight into very early tomorrow morning. And then as the system heads east, they'll be picking up some more moisture with it and a little bit more moisture headed into the upper Midwest. This is what the snowfall totals look like with this wave as it goes through. Not a lot, but it will cover the mountains with a little bit of snow again. Then we go into the weekend. This is for Friday. The next trough approaches and comes in to the Pacific Northwest, comes into northern California. So there'll be some moisture in the Pacific Northwest into the northern and central Sierras, but the system is going to get stretched. You can see it already beginning to get stretched out a little bit. So as we get into midday tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, we're in southwest flow. So that's going to bring in generally pretty mild air. So temperatures will rebound a bit, and temperatures will be a bit above average for a few days after today and tonight's fronts go through. Then we get into Sunday. Notice the departure. we've got a low going along the U.S.-Canadian border. A front will be right here. This low gets cut off again. So we have, again, a cut-off low getting detached from the main jet stream. So remember this guy, because like the storm that came through last week, it's going to come through again, kind of like in a boomerang fashion. Strong jet stream winds, cold, moist air in the Gulf of Alaska is coming in and coming into British Columbia, coming into Seattle. So you can see a lot of rain and mountain snow coming in with this system by late in the weekend. If you notice the blue and the green here, this is really cold air aloft and a lot of jet stream energy coming in. So this is going to dig in. As this digs in, this kicks out this guy, or at least wants to take this low and bring it back through again. Sound familiar? So as we look at the precipitation through Sunday morning, notice the stretched out nature of the moisture. Notice we don't have much east of the divide. So it's going to favor the northern areas. So we're going to get a little bit of moisture, but nothing heavy with that stretched out system. Notice this moisture here streaking across Mexico, southeast Arizona into southwest areas of New Mexico. This is because of that upper low right here. And this upper low, with its counterclockwise circulation, may draw moisture out of the East Pacific into the southwestern United States. So by late in the weekend and early next week, it could be getting wet right here as that low comes through. So now we're setting the stage for things to get more interesting next week. This is the stretched out feature for the weekend. So this is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is 3 days worth of snowfall potential, getting a little bit of Yellowstone National Park, southwest Montana, a bit of Nevada, into the interior west, into southern Saskatchewan there, but nothing heavy. But notice heavy snow in the mountains of British Columbia and the Canadian Rockies here because of what's coming later. Then as we get into next week, this is where things start to get a little wackadoodle. We're going to see that upper low that's down here get kicked out and go up into eastern Colorado again. Now, it's nothing like the intensity of what we had last week, so I'm not saying there's a repeat there. But there could be an area of precipitation developing with this low in this area here early next week as it kicks out. Then the cold, moist air with that low comes into the Great Basin. We have a high in the eastern Pacific. We have a high in the east central and southeastern areas of the U.S. So the consolidation of low pressure is going to want to be somewhere in here by the middle of next week. So by early next week, we're going to have to deal with this complicated scenario. Now keep in mind, this low could go up to here. It may end up going this way or this way. So we're not sure on the track yet, but it's going to be something we have to keep an eye on. Let's go forward a little bit further. So once we get past Monday of next week, this is where things get really nuts. We get that low cut off from the main jet stream again, according to the European model right here. So what we can see is we have a deep low off the west coast. We have the main jet stream riding up into Canada. We have a cutoff low over the northeast. We have a cutoff low in the central United States. We have this big low in the Gulf of Alaska. And we have a potential tropical storm or hurricane in the Caribbean. Whoa, a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. Now, will this transpire? If this does transpire, this system right here will just spin around because it's detached from the jet stream. If it gets hooked up with the jet stream, it'll head east and will go into the Great Lakes and Midwest causing problems. When we compare the model suites, this is where we have to watch things and see whether or not this gets cut off. I will tell you this, if this gets cut off, the northern plains, the central plains, and part of the Rockies are going to be dealing with a lot of winter weather next week. If it doesn't get cut off and it heads into the Midwest and the Great Lakes, it'll still be impactful, but not nearly as much. So this is the European model that I just showed you. This is the American model. There's not much different there. The American model actually shows a juggernaut, northern plains winter storm. Not saying it's going to happen yet. We're just keeping an eye on it. I'm just giving you a heads up. We need to keep an eye on it. So the European and the American models are actually pretty much in unison. Could Florida be looking at a tropical situation, tropical storm or hurricane? I don't know. Maybe. We got to watch that. And so when we compare the models, and then the Canadian model is a bit different. It wants to keep it connected to the jet stream and doesn't cut it off. but it still has low pressure in the central United States. So I'm just giving you a heads up on next week. Don't know what's going to happen, but if you're a weather watcher, there could be a lot to watch. More on that tomorrow. See you on Wednesday.